boxing fraternity breathed a sigh of relief after Sports Minister Zizi Kodwa finally broke his silence on the state of boxing in the country. Kodwa was responding to a letter written by the NPBPA to President Cyril Ramaphosa, Speaker of the National Assembly Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, and Beauty Dulani, who is the chairperson of Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Sport, Arts and Culture. They were complaining about his conduct and failure to deal with the issues surrounding the sport. Operations at Boxing South Africa ground to a halt since the NPBPA successfully interdicted the 7-member board of Boxing South Africa appointed by Minister Kodwa from taking office on the 12th of December. The National Professional Boxing Promoters Association chairperson Ayanda Matiti joins us now to talk about the latest. Ayanda, a very good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Evening to Kwena and the viewers. Evening to everybody who's a boxing fan in South Africa.
Ayanda, let's in the interest of time, just take us a little bit back as to what were the issues that you, as the Promoters Association, had with the board that the minister had appointed.
Well, before I proceed with that, I think it would be fair to congratulate the newly crowned IPO flyweight champion, Jackson Chauke, for having raised the flag high. Congratulate Bafana for having positioned the country as number 3 in the AFCON Cup. And wish Nosi Nonchinga, who's representing the country this week abroad in Mexico, wish him luck and hope that he would bring the belt home. Well, in responding to your question, the issue that we had, which we still have, and that has not changed, was that the minister, and we've been harping on this reality, announced and appointed the board of boxing, or which is supposed to regulate boxing in South Africa, without consulting with the associations that are in existence and that are legally present in the space of boxing in South Africa. You would remember that we have been insisting that the minister, with the minister rests the powers and the authority to appoint the board. But those powers and authority comes with certain obligations that you cannot disregard or put away. The minister must appoint the board after having consulted with associations that exist, as I had said. Now, we had attempted to engage the minister outside the legal fraternity to say, look, we're of the view that you are making a fundamental mistake and you would be breaking the law if you were to proceed or your board were to assume office without having fulfilled this obligation as imposed by the Act, as you would know that were regulated by an Act of Parliament. But the minister proceeded. Nonetheless, we went to court. The court interdicted the board that he had announced. But it did not only interdict the board, it withdrew and revoked his appointment or announcement subject to Part B being finalized, which would be the merit, whether or not in our allegation or in what we allege or claim, were we not consulted, or us being not consulted would amount to the board not being operational or the minister not appointing the board. Now, those are issues are yet to be ventilated in a court of law, and a determination be arrived at. So I'm not sure, given your introduction of the state of inertia that we find ourselves in South Africa in the context of boxing, when you say that it was a sign of relief, what do you mean? Because what does that amount to? What does the Minister of Sports expressing a view that the matter that is before court has got no basis?
Let's touch on that. Yeah, and that's why we're having this conversation, because I want to get some clarity on that as to what exactly are you looking for from the minister. Well, he has acknowledged that there were issues and he wants to deal with them. But from your point, as people who as an association, that were not happy with his appointments, one. Two, also went as far as going to write a letter to the president of the country to say, these are some issues that we need to deal with. What is your expectation from Minister Zizi Kodwa as far as the sport of boxing is concerned?
Well, there are two issues, as you had mentioned them. When we wrote to the National Assembly and the President of the Republic, we were merely reporting the conduct of the minister. And we are alleging that he has undermined the oath that he has taken when he was sworn in as the Minister of Sports, because you would remember that the minister made a representation through the state attorney and made an undertaking that the board will not assume office on the 12th. And that was a court decision, because that was made in writing, and it then became a court decision. In the evening, the minister revoked that undertaking alone, unilaterally, outside the precinct of the court, outside our representation. So, which then meant that the minister, when he agreed that the board would not assume, subject to the court finalizing Part A, and then in the evening, having the board announcing, tweeting that the board must assume, only to deal with one issue, which is the matter that will deal with it at a later stage, only to deal with an issue of lifting a suspension of the director of operation.
Yes. You
would imagine that you have different professionals that are appointed by the minister. They've never met, they've not received a report. Their main item is to lift a suspension so that you can have this person acting. It's good that the court withdrew and revoked his announcement.
I'm going to come in.
Its own is valid.
Because we really don't have much time. That's why I did say when I asked the first question that let's try and push for time. We literally do not have much time on this.
Boxing,
yeah.
Yes, the crisis that we have in boxing, currently, is that you can't sanction fights. We want the minister, because the court process may take long, we do not know. It may take, because the minister, the state attorney through the minister's representation have not filed the responding papers. Now, it would be in the best interest of everybody that everybody meets in a boardroom, discuss the best mechanism, because we are also hearing that the minister is contemplating appointing an administrator.
Yes.
And that will not take away the problem, because you must have a committee that sanctions boxing. You must have a committee that must rate boxing. And that is a subcommittee of the board. So we must discuss the real issues in South Africa. We've instructed our attorneys to act in a particular way to deal with related issues. But we're still open to a meeting with the minister in attempting to resolve the state of inertia that we find ourselves in the boxing case in South Africa.
Let me do this, because I think you and I are bouncing off the ropes and bobbing and weaving a lot in this conversation. I will extend another invitation to you, because we are out of time, where we have a little bit more time to thresh out these issues, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about that. But thank you for coming through tonight to talk to us. That is Ayanda Matiti, who is the chairperson of the Professional Boxing Association.